one word that comes to mind after seeing that is service, the lives of service that these men led, and you know, many going to the Society of St. James as well, and they care so much for the people, and you know, now it's time for people to care for them too, and that's why we have Joe Dorigo here, the Executive Director of the Archdiocesan Clergy Health and Retirement Trust, and thank you so much for being with us, Joe.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to talk about these men.
Yeah, and maybe just for people that might not know about the Retirement and Health Trust, what is it, and what is your position?
It is the trust that's responsible for the care and well-being of all our priests, both active and retired. Of course, we spend most of our funds on the retired priests. We have about 250 senior priests, which in normal terms we refer to as active priests, but a senior priest referred to as retired priest. But a senior priest, you know, a man is a priest forever. So our job has morphed into really providing for not only their care, but helping them increase their quality of life as they age and deal with the challenges of aging, which are multiple. We have 54 men at Regina Cleary, but we have another 100 men that live on their own. And so our responsibility in the fund is to take care of all of those men. It's interesting, and, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, when you get to know the men, you've seen some of them. The George Emerson, who spent years in South America. You know, they come alive when they talk about their ministry. Yeah. And now they've reached a stage of their life where they're senior, they're aging, they recognize their aging process. But when you get them in a room and start talking about their experiences, they're alive again in a way that they're not when they're walking around in Regina Cleary or the neighborhood. Yeah. So they're engaged.
Is that some of the challenges that you face too, trying to keep that aliveness well in them and try to keep them up and sort of you know, feel that they're still have a part in their ministry?
I think that the challenge is to keep them engaged. Yeah. I think as they age, or we age. I mean, I'm closer to them than you are in age. And I think one of the keys is to be engaged in something as you age. All these men have had multiple experiences, some academic. You know, we have some scholars that are residents of Regina Cleary. They've had a very active intellectual life. How do you keep that going? You know, so providing programs at Regina. We're working on a program now to partner with St. Joe's, right next to us, St. Joseph's Parish, which is right next to Regina Cleary, where these men will give lectures to the parishioners. That's great. You know, just to keep them engaged. It's a win-win. It's a win because you create a vibrant community in the parish, but I'm very selfish in this. It's more of a win for our guys to be engaged and share their knowledge. Because if you get them talking, they won't stop. Sort of like me, you know.
I mean, one of the things that you saw, some of the guys were talking about, in a very good way, but they were aware of the losses in their life. So they miss the missions, they miss all the families they used to care for, they miss all the other stuff. But the part that struck me, that these guys are healthy because they look at that all with gratitude. I mean, they're grateful for what their lives have been. They're grateful for their vocation. They're grateful for being on mission. And they just wish they could keep on doing it.
Right. And I think that's the challenge. They realize they're slowing down. You know, they'll say, well, let me see you in the morning. I really need to take a nap in the afternoon. So they do slow down. And they deal with that. I mean, so how do you deal with that in a positive way? I think Steve Gust, who really manages Regina Cleary on a daily basis, does that very well in keeping them engaged, in recognizing their needs. And I can't give enough credit to the staff, who also does that. I mean, we have a very integrated community there. And the men will take care of each other. I mean, if you go to Regina Cleary for lunch or dinner, and just observe, it really is gratifying to see the more able-bodied men help those that may have mobility issues. You know, bringing a walker over, moving a chair back, getting them in. So there is the brotherhood, and they're now taking care of each other in a way. And it's really very, very nice to see. I mean, what energizes me personally is to go to Regina Cleary. I've never come out of there without a smile on my face, ever. You know, it's not like, when you go there, it's not like going to work.
And of course, the other challenge too is the funding to help out these priests too. I know the big priest appreciation dinner every year has been going good and strong, but for people to get involved in that and realize that the funds are needed for these men.
Well, the funding is always a challenge. You know, for our retired men today, our cost is about $9.8 million. Wow. Okay, so we have 3 collections and we have the dinner, and that accounts for about $8.5 million. So about $1 million just for retired, not even talking about the active people. So fundraising is always a challenge, trying to stay ahead of the game. And for the men today, but also for those to come. Everybody thinks that all of a sudden we're going to have a decrease in the number of retired priests. Actually, we will have a waiting list at Regina for the next 25 years. It just because the classes today, the men who are in their 50s, and they'll be retired in 25 years now, are 12, 15, 19 men are retiring. So fundraising is always a challenge, and sometimes that's frustrating, but we get our energy by just going to see the men. Yeah. Because that's why we do it. Yeah. So it's any help we can get. I don't want to take any money away from Catholic TV. So I don't want to make the pitch now. But it is www.
Okay, throw it out there. But I just in talking with Joe too, I don't know if you have a personal story, or I mean, you talk about loving your job, and that's key to enjoying life as well. But what is maybe a story or something that takes you up when you go to your job and work with these men who've given their lives to others?
Well, I guess, you know, when I came into this, it was a financial, I came in about 8 years ago, a little over 8 years ago, and there was a financial imperative. And that's why I came in to make some major changes in how we took care of our priests. And Monsignor Tierney, who used to run Regina Cleary, was not a big proponent of the changes I was making. And a couple of years ago, we were at a cocktail half hour that we have once a week at Regina Cleary, and he pulled me aside and he said, "Joe, I think you need to sit down. I need to tell you something." "Yes, Monsignor." He said, "You know, I am so grateful for what you've done for us." You know, and that's all you need. Yeah. The guys are grateful. They have a wonderful place to live, and Monsignor Tierney is now 90, 91. Yeah. You know, and he's still going strong. Can't hear as well, can't see as well, but he recognizes my voice.
Well, we thank you so much,
well,
Joe,
thank
for
you.
being with us today.